What do you think is the most interesting psychology phenomenon? If you're talking to someone intently and you hand them something, more often than not they'll take it. Doesn't matter if it's a book, a pen or an orange. No idea what the phenomenon is called or if it's even psychological, but it's made for some great pranks. Locus of control lock. Lock basically is how you control over your own life. People either have an internal lock where they believe they have the power to control their own lives, or an external lock where you believe everything in life comes from a source other than yourself. I got fired because my boss hates me, I was late because traffic, etc. Now, what's interesting is that studies have shown people with an internal lock find greater satisfaction and success in almost every aspect of life except one, being in a nursing home. Drives internal lock people crazy while external lock people thrive. If you get yourself to be really happy and excited to see other people, they will react the same to you. It doesn't always happen the first time, but it will definitely happen next time. Time and again, this has always worked fine for me. I had a pretty amazing, if hilarious and embarrassing experience with this last year. I was on a seminar panel giving advice to students about a topic, and I saw this girl in the audience that I mistook for someone I had met a few times before. So I was occasionally shooting her looks or expressions, like how when speaking to an audience, you look for a friendly face to kind of interact with as you speak. In turn, she was really engaged and returned this really friendly vibe in kind. It turns out I was mistaken and I have never met that girl in my life, so embarrassing in hindsight, but the impact that mistake had on how I was received and how I felt was tremendous. I met a woman years ago who claimed to have déjà vus that lasted several minutes instead of a few seconds. She wound up going into the psyche ward over it. She said it feels like watching a recording of your own life instead of actually living it. I think it has to do with the way memories are stored in your brain. Some feedback loop kicks in and makes you feel like you've experienced the moment before. That's just a guess though. Stuff like this is nearly impossible to study in a lab. Playing. When two animals play with each other, they both communicate aggression, they show fangs, claws, they bite, they go for the neck, etc. Everything about it should communicate danger, but they never feel endangered, even when one animal accidentally hurts another. This happens even when animals are playing with animals they have barely known for some time. It blows my mind how the right context completely transforms all the communication between animals who play. I don't have a dissociative disorder, so to say, but the scariest symptom of my severe anxiety is dissociating. The world does not look as real. The sunlight on the earth looks superficial. Sounds are a little quieter or much louder. Houses and trees look a little different, like it's a hyper-realistic rendering of the world that's almost spot on but not exactly. I feel like I'm dreaming and become completely numb emotionally. I'm just there, separated from everything, and feel like I'm not real. I could stare straight ahead for hours in this state and not think of a single thing. It's awful, and I would trade that mental response for a panic attack any day. Edit. This blew up. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. For me, it is the unconscious mind and the fact that it accounts for the majority of our cognitive activity. I think it's interesting how we can simultaneously both know and not know things. It is also interesting and perhaps even frightening that we are not running the show to the extent that we think we are, at least not consciously. Not being able to choose could mean death. Therefore, the brain collects fragments of positive memories which will guide you throughout the rest of your life. One of these fragments could be that you've a preference for the color red because you associate it with a lot of childhood memories: Charizard, Ash Ketchum hat, Pikachu cheeks, etc. This is something advertisers love to exploit. Emphasizing how much better they are than a competitor distracts from how stupid, useless, or even harmful the product is. Which is better, Coke or Pepsi? Neither. The answer is neither. They don't want you to consider that. They just want you to pick a cola, any cola. Even if you pick Coke, Pepsi has you hooked. Wherever someone asks, is Pepsi okay? If they do sell you on Pepsi, then they've really got you, because now your fake choice is between regular diet, the other diet that isn't called diet, the blue one, the clear one, whatever the hell Pepsi Max is, etc., etc. And then there's choice overload. Too many choices is overwhelming and makes a decision impossible. That's why you scroll and scroll and scroll through Netflix past a bunch of things you definitely enjoy, only to finally give up in frustration and watch The Office again. These two factors combined are why a brand will come out with 1,000 different varieties. It gives you the illusion of choice while keeping you loyal to the brand, and it makes choosing anything else an ungodly ordeal. It also helps to monopolize store aisles. Dreaming. Even though everyone does it, it's amazing that our minds create virtual realities for us nightly. If you can lucid dream, it can be more entertaining than any game technology has invented. I find dreaming fascinating, not just how dreams occur and their functions, but how it affects your memories and emotions too. In dreams, memories can be so different to real life. You can dream someone you don't know who is completely made up only to feel like you knew them forever, complete with a set of memories together. The intensity of emotions are heightened as well, and you can't stop feeling those emotions upon waking up. Why do our brains create nightmares, though? It seems so masochistic for your own mind to create nightmarish scenarios that would never happen in real life, or simply relive bad memories over and over. This has always baffled me. Normally our biology avoids pain at all costs, but the brain seems to obsess over it while we dream. The gambler's fallacy, specifically, how the same series of events can lead to two different conclusions. Assume you have a perfectly fair coin, you toss it 5 times and get 5 heads. You then ask 2 people what they think the 6th toss will be. Person A thinks that heads is obviously on a roll, so he bets on heads. Person B thinks that heads has happened too many times, which means that tails has to come up, so he bets on tails. They are both wrong. The odds of the 6th throw remain the same, regardless of what happened in the past. Note that this only works if the coin is fair. The Troxler effect, a psychological phenomenon where if one is put into a dimly lit room, then look at theirself in the mirror for an extended period of time, they will see things in the mirror, but only the mirror. It is caused by the human brain being able to only experience so little at a time. There are things you aren't paying attention to and therefore don't experience. For instance, your blinking pattern or how the air feels. Your brain deems it irrelevant, so it just cuts them off to process other stuff. When in the dimly lit room looking at the mirror, your brain deems stuff in the mirror irrelevant and just simply removes it from your sight. But it still has to put something there. But because it's irrelevant and doesn't know what to put there, it tries its best to fill in that void, and in doing so, makes something weird happen. I'm pretty sure there was an instance where someone tried this, and their mouth stretched out across their cheeks. The brain didn't know what to put on the cheeks because it was deemed irrelevant, so it tried to fill the gap and failed. One of the most popular cases of this would be Bloody Mary. This could also happen without a mirror. Ever just be in your room and out of the corner of your eye you see something looking at you, peeking around the door, but when you focus on it, nothing was there. That would be the Troxler effect. I'm amazed at the number of people who freeze in a disastrous situation like a sinking ship. People who survive tragedies like that always report that there's not nearly the amount of panic and confusion that you'd expect. A lot of people freeze in place and simply can't move even as the water is rising around them. Families have been split up in situations like this where 2 of them can move but the other 3 can't.